Hello everyone, welcome to this month's edition of North Central Outdoors. I'm your host Nathan Karch. Today's topic is going to be the late deer season and late waterfowl season statewide of 2021 and 2022. So we'll dive right into the waterfowl season, specifically duck season and goose season. So those start December 4th and then run to January 30th for the duck season, and then goose season extends a couple more weeks, and that shuts down February 13th. So I don't want to say too much about the rules and regs for waterfowl season, just because it is so area specific. It's going to differ from Old Hickory Lake to Percy Priest to Center Hill. Just wherever you go, you're going to really have to pay attention to those rules and regulations. So a lot of Middle Tennessee hunters, they don't even hunt here in Middle Tennessee. They travel West Tennessee, close to the Mississippi Flyway. So even those areas are going to be completely different. So I would encourage you just to pick up a hunting guide or download our app, TWRA On The Go, and there'll be a digital copy or a PDF copy on that application for the hunting guide, and just look up those specific regulations to where you're going to. The daily bag limit for ducks for the statewide season is going to be 6. That's not going to differ depending on where you're going to be at. The Canada goose is going to be 3. That's going to be your daily bag limit, and then your possession limit is 3 times the daily bag limit. So again, please pick up a hunting guide. It's very difficult. Waterfowl season is, just because it's so specific to where you are, what you're hunting. There's no other season out there where you're going to be targeting multiple species at the exact same time. So you've got to be very, very good at your identification before you pull that trigger. So study up on your ducks, identification, your geese, and all the other types of waterfowl out there before you go hunting. And I would encourage you, if you're a rookie or you're a first-time duck hunter, please go with somebody who knows what they're doing, that's been doing it for a while. I would say it's probably one of the most difficult types of hunting to do, to start out with. Again, there's no other type of hunting out there where you're going to target multiple species at the same time. If you're deer hunting, you know you're going after white-tailed deer. If you're turkey hunting, you're going after the eastern wild turkey. So this type, it's really, really easy to unknowingly get in a bind. There's so many specific regulations statewide and federally that you've got to pay attention to, unlike any type of big game that you might be hunting. So if you are going out there for the first time and you don't have anybody to go with that's been doing it for a while, please study up on those rules and regulations to where you're going to be at before you go out, because it's a lot of information to take in. And we realize there's a lot of controversy with the current duck blind drawing process, how to obtain a blind, and those that have drawn a blind. We hear you, and hopefully there will be some changes implemented in the future. We don't know yet. All of this came due to COVID-19 back in 2020, when basically we had to implement a system that would not draw in those large crowds that we did the in-person duck blind drawing, where we could social distance and still make it fair and try to outreach all the hunters in the state instead of a specific area to create more opportunities. So that was really our overall goal, but we realized there's some issues to that as well. So maybe we'll see some change in the future. Don't know quite yet, but we hear you, and we're hopeful for the future. So jumping into the 2021-2022 deer season, we're currently in rifle season, or big game gun. So there's been a lot of success so far statewide. We've seen, I pulled the numbers last night, and so far this season, as of yesterday afternoon, there was 82,552 hunters that have been successful across the state, whether it be harvesting one deer or hunters harvesting numerous deer. So that's awesome. And that contributes to, I think it was around 100,152 harvests statewide. So that's kind of on par with last year's numbers, and that's awesome if you consider where we were as a state and as a country last year with COVID-19 going on. Everybody was social distancing, so the outdoors is always open, but the world practically shut down, and everybody flocked to the outdoors to have an opportunity to just do something different. And for those that have been doing it for a while, you know, they just found more opportunities to get out there, you know, for more numerous days. So that's fantastic that our numbers are practically similar to last year. That tells us that everybody's, you know, still getting out there and maybe picking it up for the first time. Everybody says, you know, there's a tremendous amount of land opportunities out there with the public land. We know lease costs have been on the rise, but you know, with public land, if you don't have any private property to hunt, look at our public land. We've got a lot of opportunities out there, Middle Tennessee and all across the state. But if you need any information on public land, look in your hunting guide or contact me personally. I'll try to get you in touch with whoever's in the area where you're trying to hunt, and we'll make sure it happens. But awesome success across the state. We're super glad about that. Hopefully next year will be just as good. So if you haven't had an opportunity to get out there just yet, please do. We've still got a lot of season left, and hopefully you'll be successful. So as it sits currently, if you've not been hunting so far, all you'll need to do is purchase a Type 001 and a big gun permit. And then if you're wanting to harvest any does or antlerless deer during the gun season, you'll have to purchase an additional Type 94 permit. And those are the only three that you need. If you already possess a sportsman's license, whether it be annual or lifetime, that will suffice. Both of those are good. But if you want to do the building process, as I mentioned before, a Type 1, Type 9, and a Type 94 is all you'll need to be able to hunt for the rest of the big game deer season. And I want to go back because I did not cover the waterfowl licenses. So obviously your statewide annual sportsman's license or lifetime license will be sufficient to get you through duck season. And then you'll have to purchase the federal duck stamp on top of that. Those statewide licenses do not cover that. They'll cover all the statewide supplemental licenses, but you'll have to additionally purchase that federal duck stamp. If you're wanting to do the building block process, it will be a Type 01, a Type 05, which is your statewide waterfowl permit, and then a federal duck stamp. And if you're going to be hunting private property, that's all you'll need. If you're going to be hunting WMA or public land, you're going to want to purchase that 93 permit, which will allow you to do so. So that kind of covers all the licenses. If you've not had hunter education prior, you're going to need to either purchase a hunter ed exemption permit. It's the apprentice license. Just go with somebody who's had it, or go ahead and just knock that out. You can go online through the NRA, and it's completely free, and you can do it all online now. The COVID-19 kind of when that hit, we exclusively offered an online process, and now I think that's going to be the new norm. So it's very convenient. No more need for the live fire and testing portion in person or the field day. So completely online, and you can go at your own pace. You can save the content as you go, and if it takes you a week or one day, you can just knock it out, and you'll have that for the rest of your life. And also, once you obtain that, it will be recognized throughout the entire U.S., so it's reciprocal, very much like the handgun carry permit laws across the U.S. So you only have to take it once, and if you ever move out of state or something like that, it's recognized. So go ahead and knock that out. Some things to be mindful of if you've already tagged out this deer season, and you want to contribute to future success, maybe next year, is if you have a big target buck that you're after, you didn't get to fill that tag, or maybe you got him on camera early and the rut hit and he was just gone, and you're hopeful that maybe he'll come back. Normally those bucks spend basically most of their time on your property, but when the rut hits, they'll go chasing love. But after the rut's over, they'll come back if they're still alive. So in order to keep them there and hopefully have an opportunity next year, is I would encourage you, if you're completely tagged out, you're on private property and there's no other hunters going to be hunting on that property, is go ahead and offer up a food source for them, some type of grain, and some protein supplements that will really help draw them in, and they'll probably stay there. They won't roam as much, and that will keep the neighbor from blasting them. That way you'll have an opportunity next year to get that deer. So again, it's not illegal to bait an area to draw deer in if you are not hunting, but when you are hunting, have a weapon. That's when it does become illegal. So again, if you're tagged out, you're not going to hunt for the rest of the year, go ahead, throw out a food source, because all the agricultural fields, they've already been harvested. The soybeans and the corn, they're gone. Everything left over from those harvests, they've probably been picked through already. Most of the acorns have been eaten up by now. So after the rut, those deer are really looking for a readily available food source, and it's very, very hard to come by right now. So they're looking for anything, and if you offer that up and it's going to be readily available, they're going to stay in that area. So I would suggest that. Also, a lot of people take up their trail cameras around the rut just because, you know, those bucks that they've been seeing all year, they just go. They're gone, and you might get some new bucks on camera, but you know their patterns are just all over the place. So they just take up their trail cameras and they don't put them out until next year. I would encourage you, if you do still have them up, leave them out, or if you already take them up, put them back out, and that way you see what survives for next year. Once the season's over with, give it a few weeks, and then, you know, see what's coming back to your property, because if they're coming back to your property, chances are that tells you that they're probably living on your property or very, very close by. So food source, throw out some trail cameras after the season's over with and you've given a sufficient amount of time. Go ahead and pull those cards, especially before it gets really, really cold in the February months. You don't want to damage your trail cameras, and most of the time when February hits, that's when most of the deer or the bucks are losing their antlers, so there's really no reason to keep those cameras out at that point anyway. So go ahead and pull those. And then also, if you have tree stands out or ground blinds, that's a good opportunity to pull those and put them indoors and save them for next year. If you're the kind of person that leaves them out year round, then it might be a good time to loosen up some of those ratchet straps. That way when the tree grows, it's not going to grow into the tree or anything. You're not going to have an awful time getting those down. And inspect those tree stands for any damages and repair them if necessary. So just a helpful tip that might be beneficial to you for next season. And then also, there is all kinds of other opportunities as a filler in the lull period between now and spring turkey season. If you're not a waterfowl hunter, or even if you are and you want to just experience some other opportunities, we have predator hunting that extends all the way to February 28th, specifically for bobcat. So that's opened up. There's no daily bag limit. You can harvest as many as you want, and that will extend through February 28th. Coyote is year-round, so no daily bag limit on those either. So very, very fun thing to do in the off-season, to go out and just experience something different. And then if you're a small game hunter, we also have squirrel and rabbit. Those two also extend through February 28th. That's when those seasons all close. The daily bag limit for squirrel is 10, and the daily bag limit for rabbit is 5. So just get out there, do some predator hunting, waterfowl. If you're not tagged out, please go do some deer hunting, and you know, maybe rabbit or squirrel, just do it all. A couple things that I want to finish up with. We've received a ton of calls, especially since the rut, about deer, specifically bucks, getting hit on the road or maybe being shot and roaming on someone else's property, and they've recovered them. They want the antlers. In order to legally obtain those antlers, you have to report it to a law enforcement agency. It doesn't specifically have to be TWRA, but it can be any law enforcement agency, and you'll receive a salvage tag or a confirmation number. And so that's to possess the rack, or if you want to salvage any type of meat. If it's a fresh roadkill and you can salvage some of it, you want to take it to a processor or you want to process it yourself, go ahead and report it to local LE and they'll give you a confirmation number. If you're taking it to a processor, they will not accept, by law, any type of deer without a confirmation number. So go ahead and grab that. And then please, if you see any violations whatsoever, whether it's regarding big game or boating, fishing, please report it. You can report it to me, you can report it to our Region 2 headquarters at 615-781-6581, or report it to our poaching hotline, which is going to be 1-800-255-8972. You are our eyes and our ears out there, and we appreciate you so much. If it wasn't for you, we couldn't do our job sufficiently. So please report any violations that you see immediately. Don't wait a week and just be like, well, maybe it'll correct itself. No, we want to help you out. We want to work it. So as soon as it happens, please report it. If you can get a picture, a video, especially a license plate number or anything that would help in our investigation, please do so. Again, we encourage everybody to get outdoors. If you haven't had an opportunity to get out there yet, harvest a deer, or you're trying to fill your second buck tag, you're just trying to fill the freezer, please get out there. I promise you, you won't regret it. Everybody, get out there, have fun, be safe, and we'll see you next time.